We're going to go ahead and get started. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and ask you all to mute yourselves if you're not already. And we will get going. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. My name is Sarah Cusey. I'm the development coordinator here at Space for Art, and I will be your MC for the evening. If you didn't see the slide on the screen, just make sure you have a beverage for our toast, and you can use the chat anytime. We'll have someone monitoring that. And then just a heads up that we are recording tonight so that we can share it with others who weren't able to make it. Tonight, you'll be hearing from our executive director as well as our board president. We'll be sharing photos and updates from our education program and testing your Space for Art knowledge with some trivia. And then you'll be hearing from and experiencing the work of some of our longtime resident artists. And at the very end, we'll be announcing our Open Studios date for March. We're so thrilled to be able to gather with you virtually tonight, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you in person next month. I have a few Zoom housekeeping items before we get started. As I said, we're recording the event, and we're asking everyone to stay muted for now, just so there's no feedback and everyone can hear. We will get to a little bit more informal part later where we'll do some questions and answers, and I'll let you know when we get there. That being said, we love to hear from you, so please do use the chat, and you can also use the reactions button. It's at the bottom right-hand side of your Zoom screen, and you can use that just like you would clapping or smiling or nodding your head if you were actually in person as an event. So use that to engage as an audience. We would love that. And for most of the evening, I will be spotlighting the speaker, so you don't have to look for the person who's talking on your screen. But during the Q&A, we'll be a little more informal, and I'll invite you to change your view to gallery view so that you can see everyone and really feel like we're all together. So without further ado, it is my great pleasure to kick off our celebration by introducing the Executive Director of Space for Art, Jennifer Poyne.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, and hello, everyone, and welcome to all who have joined us from near or far. We are so excited to celebrate you who help us every day in every way to make Space for Art. Your generous contributions come in all shapes and sizes. Contributions of time, energy, money, passion, in-kind, pro bono services, ideas, advice, and most of all, love of service to our community of artists, educators, and students. We appreciate each and every contribution you make toward our efforts. Deep in our DNA, Space for Art is a volunteer-run organization. And even though we long ago adopted a nonprofit model, we adhere very closely to the spirit that founders Bob Leathers, Cheryl Nickel, and Chris Warr established with and for the community. Space for Art is still run by artists. Half of our board and 2/3 of our staff are working artists, and our resident artists also volunteer their time to help maintain the space, provide direction for our efforts, and host community events. We are so very honored by that grassroots energy. Today, our circle has grown beyond the residents, volunteers, staff, and board who birthed this organization to include donors, institutional funders, community partners, and civic leaders. Without all of you, without all of us working together, none of this work would be possible. So thank you. Thank you for being here today. And above all, thank you for your constant, varied, and creative forms of support. And now, if you'll join me, please, let's raise a glass as we toast you and all you do to make Space for Art. Cheers. Salud.
Salud. I got right in time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. We are going to have our first trivia question of the night. Give me just a second as I share my screen. So our first question is, who influenced the design and ethos of Space for Art? Is it A, the founders, Bob Leathers, Cheryl Nickel, and Chris Warr, B, a small group of local artists, or C, over 300 artists and art lovers? And I'll give you just a minute. You're welcome to put your guess in the chat, and then I'll share the answer with you. I see lots of C's. You are correct. In 2008, more than 300 concerned citizens participated in a series of community meetings, design workshops, and surveys focused on the challenges faced by local artists. From these meetings, surveys, and design sessions, Space for Art developed its mission and physical structures. And now I'm going to turn it over to our board president and one of our co-founders, Bob Leathers, to talk about one of his favorite subjects, the future of Space for Art.
You're unmuted. Okay.
Okay, there we are. For the last week, I have been reviewing those surveys and brainstormings, questionnaires, and everything that happened from 2007 through 2019. I want to read you just one comment that came from one of our tenants, which I think reflects many of the inputs we received. Space for Art has been absolutely essential for producing work and for keeping me in San Diego rather than moving to another city. Space for Art not only provided me with working space, but with community. Exhibition opportunities, friends, colleagues. Community. Time and again, comments would refer to community within Space for Art and the community without, with meaning reaching out into the community. After we opened in June of 2010, we had 4 to 5 years of great enthusiasm. Artists were building community, and they felt the community. We didn't have any money, and the organization was anything but organized. But we survived. Then HP purchased the 3 buildings. We were kicked out of the main building, meaning that we lost the gallery. We lost the stage, the classroom, and even the tiny home. That could have been the beginning of the end. However, because of all of you and the greater community out there that aren't even on this meeting, but have backed Space for Art, we were able to purchase land on Market Street as an investment to the future. We were able to build an administration that truly is now organized and which is now planning for permanence and believes in permanence. Trying to establish a permanent home has not been easy. We've been years looking at different properties, doing umpteen plans for Market Street. But the fact is, just over the last year, we had a great option for a permanent home that was in Point Loma. Loma Star is the name of the building. It may even still be our permanent home. We don't know yet. We also found, as most of you realize, the perfect home, we thought, that was in Burial Logan, just a block and a half from where we are now. It had everything. The only thing was, it was a little bit expensive for us. We couldn't put up $500,000 or $1 million right up front in cash, but a developer did. And they grabbed it out from under us. we almost were in escrow on that, awfully close. But there is another property that is in escrow, and that is Market Street. Market Street is in escrow for $2.85 million. Now that may sound like an awful lot of money, and frankly, it is an awful lot of money to us. And we don't know if it's going to close or not, but it does have a good chance of closing. We will know by June. April is the first date that it's going to reach a phase, but then by June, it's put up or shut up. We are going to build a permanent home. And a lot of you may wonder where the heck I'm coming from, but I can feel it in my bones. We are going to build a permanent home, and we're going to know where it is and how we're going to get there by 1 year from today. Put that on your calendar, February 16th, 2023. We will meet and we will be planning while we're going to do this and how we're going to move into this permanent home. It's going to be an exciting year this next year. In fact, when we build, once again, volunteer build will build community. The only difference is this community is going to be permanent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob. It's always so inspiring to hear from Bob and just his belief, and both he and Cheryl, the persistence they have to get us to that permanent home, and we can't wait to get there. So with that, I am actually going to hand it off to Suchita to talk to us about where our education programs are at right now. And Suchita, there you go.
Hello, hi everyone. Thank you, Sarah. It's a little intimidating to be following Bob, but I'm gonna try. So hi guys, I'm the Director of Operations at Space for Art, and I'm responsible for the oversight and running of our programs. Our current programs include affordable housing and studio spaces for artists, art openings and events for the public, and STEM-based arts education and mentorship for youth in underserved schools and neighborhoods. We currently have about 38 artists working out of 22 studios. And I am so happy to announce that our in-person education programming that had halted due to the pandemic has been able to be restarted with the help of San Diego Foundation and Mission-Driven Finance and generous supporters like you. We have formed new partnerships with Pro Kids Academy and Crawford High School in City Heights, and we continue to serve students at our longtime partner school, King Chavez Primary in Greater Logan Heights. Artist Brennan Hubble has already conducted various workshops at Pro Kids Academy, and he's taught them things like kinetic sculptures and spherical structures using simple resources like wire, wood, fidget spinners, cardboard. Most recently, he took them through the fundamentals of light composition, shading, and taught them simple printmaking techniques. Our artist and board member, Linda Litterall, has kicked off a 7-week series at Crawford High School. She will be taking the students through a design and ceramic course using a healing arts process, resulting in an installation project within the school. As we speak, musician Felix Diaz is wrapping up his first session at King Chavez Primary Academy in a 6-week-long series, teaching 4th and 5th graders the basics of rhythm and drumming in a completely hands-on, immersive environment. We are continuing to work with artists to develop customized programming that is suited to the needs of our partner schools. I am so thrilled to walk into this creative establishment on a daily basis and see the excitement and passion that our artists have for sharing their craft, their knowledge with the public and students. I am honored to be working with them and our partners to continue to develop programming that benefits both students and teachers and expands the creative economy. None of this would be possible without your support. So again, thank you to each and every one of you for helping us make space for art in San Diego and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suchita. We're gonna move on to one more trivia question. We'll put that up on the screen. We want to know if you can guess how many artists currently have an affordable studio or live workspace at Space for Art. And no multiple choice this time, just make your best guess. You can throw it in the chat. I see 15, 42, 12. Give you a couple more seconds. 21, good guess. 18. Oh, Siobhan, I think you're cheating. The answer is 38. Currently, our East Village facility houses 38 artists who in turn use those affordable spaces to make a living, educate youth, run small nonprofits, and provide cultural offerings for the community. We're really proud that since our inception, Space for Art has housed more than 134 resident artists in our studio and live workspaces. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you one of our longtime resident artists, Siobhan Arnold. Let me find you, Siobhan, and spotlight you. And she's gonna share with us, oh, actually, I have slides for you, I apologize. Let me share my screen again. So this is Siobhan, and she's gonna tell us about her experience as an artist in residence at Space for Art.
Hi, everybody, I'm Siobhan Arnold, and I joined the Space for Art community nearly 8 years ago with my partner Gilbert, and both of us are teaching artists in San Diego region, and we felt so fortunate to find an affordable space that was close to home and that would provide us much needed studio space, which we don't have in our tiny 1,200 square foot home with 2 children. So we were both really looking forward to joining a creative community again after some years ago, helping to build a vibrant live work arts collective in Seattle that was called Noodleworks. And living and working there was one of the profound creative experiences of our lives. And we are just so lucky to have found this kind of environment again in San Diego at Space for Art. Open studios, events, performances, workshops, on-site and off-site exhibitions, all of these have been incredibly rich and valued aspects of being a member of the Space for Art community. Space for Art has given me personally, as a working artist and mother of 2 children, the much needed opportunity to really dedicate myself to my creative practice away from my home life distractions. It's really been a refuge for me for the past 8 years. I'm in my studio now, as you can see. And it's really allowed me to focus and develop my work like no other time in my life. And in my life as a college art instructor in the region, Space for Art has provided a destination for numerous student field trips and exhibition opportunities. Independently, Space for Art has provided space for me to teach workshops in the past. And this spring, I will be also working with Crawford High School students through the Space for Art Art for Kids program coming up. And so beyond my individual studio practice, the artists and the staff at Space for Art has really become an extended family for me. And I'm So looking forward to the next chapter of our growth as we move towards a permanent home in the San Diego area. So yay, can't wait. Thank you.
Thank you, Siobhan. We love having you here and feel that family connection as well. We're gonna do one more trivia question, and then we will be treated to a hypnotic musical performance. So let's test your space for art knowledge one more time. And we want to know if you can tell us which disciplines are represented at Space for Art. Fine arts, imaginative works of aesthetic value, functional art, theatrical arts, or all of the above. What do you think? I see a lot of E's, yes. When in doubt, all of the above, but you are correct. We're really proud to focus on cutting edge, often experimental artwork across the disciplines of fine arts, imaginative works of aesthetic value, functional art, and theatrical arts. Synergy is one of our core values, and so we intentionally cultivate a space where artists from disparate backgrounds work together in proximity to inspire each other. And that's a huge part of Space for Art. I think you'll often hear artists who have studios or live here talk about how they get inspired in a cross-discipline manner by artists who do other work than they do. So with that, I'm going to hand things over to Chris Warren, and he's going to share a little bit about what you're going to see with this hypnotic musical performance. So let me
Hey there,
take the
folks.
spotlight on. Go ahead.
My name is Chris Warren. I am a resident artist here at Space for Art, and I am also a artist teacher. I was asked by Sarah to put together a little bit of a performance for this. And so my wife, Ariana, and I did this little demonstration. I hope you like it. Please make yourself extraordinarily comfortable for the next 6 minutes. I want to play you a piece of music we just completed. It has no rhythm, no melodies. It's a texture. Every sound that you'll hear is some combination of bass clarinet, flute, and guitar. Here we go. Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris and Ariana, for letting us experience that performance. So we are going to move into a little bit more informal time in just a minute. We have one more trivia question, but before we do that, I did want to give you just a bonus piece of trivia that Ariana and Chris had their wedding on site at Space for Art, and they just celebrated 9 years of marriage last week. So cheers, Laham, salute to them as well. All right, here's our last trivia question for the night. And if you were listening to Bob, or if you know him at all, I'm sure you know the answer to this one. What is Space for Art's long-term goal? A, to keep paying sky-high rents in San Diego while providing affordable space to artists, or B, to purchase and build out a multidisciplinary art center so that Space for Art will be here long after we're gone. Yeah, and I see your answers in the chat. You are correct. We're definitely committed to purchasing and building out this art center for both artists in San Diego, but the city as a whole really benefits from that, so that there is a legacy long after we're all gone. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and remove my spotlight. And I invite you to change your view. You'll see a button for that in the top right-hand corner to gallery, so that you can see everyone and feel like we're all together. And this is the time where you are welcome to ask questions, or if you just want to comment. Just so we don't have everyone speaking at once, you can feel free to put things in the chat and we'll answer them, or just kind of indicate that you want to speak and I'll ask you to unmute yourself.
Mhm.
And if you don't have questions, you can feel free to give a comment or a response to the musical performance as well.
Do you want to comment?
No, I'm sorry. They can't. Can they?
Yeah,
Can
go
you guys
for it.
hear Bob and Cheryl? Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
Can you hear Bob and Cheryl?
Yeah, they can.
Okay. I have been in touch with Jonathan Gluss, who's the Commissioner for Arts and Culture, and he agrees that with the new City Hall mayor, who's a Democrat, Todd Gloria, and other people are really interested in keeping San Diego and expanding San Diego's role as a creative city. Other cities have had the opportunity to get way ahead of us in their understanding of a creative economy and how that is perpetuated in a city or created, has to do with supporting the arts, and in cities that like San Diego that are not very affordable, to create more opportunities for artists so that they can stay here and contribute and interact with other creatives in other many disciplinaries. So that's the objective, and we have some meetings that we are looking forward to having with various people in city government, and Jonathan Gluss has been very encouraged by hearing what they have to say, and we look forward to meeting with him. And we are looking again for other possible sites to create a space for art, to make a space for art, right? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Jennifer, speaking of the Commission for Arts and Culture, does Space for Art receive any funding from the Commission at this time does it fit into that category? It does.
We do. Thank you, Kathy, for asking. Yes, one of our steadfast supporters is the City of San Diego through the Commission for Arts and Culture. We receive OSP funding, for those in the know, for those who don't know what that means, and goodness knows there's always a word salad when it comes to funding. It just means we have operational support from the city, which is really important for paying those things that are really unsexy, like staff and rent. So we really appreciate the role that the city plays in supporting our efforts. They actually encouraged us a few years ago when I first came on to transition from project-based funding to operational funding, and that has really made it possible for us to almost rely on that funding, because as you know, Kathy, the city has formulas and all ways of kind of figuring out how to fund the arts. And one of them is you have to get your stuff together and show them that you know how to manage money. And thanks to Suchita, our guru, our financial guru, we are like at the top end of our game for producing financial reports and documents that really show how we manage ourselves and how we operate. So yes, we have funding from the city. We hope that the city will restore full funding to the arts this year. As many of you on the call know, the city did provide emergency funding during the pandemic, but also cut back on regular funding. So we're hoping that they will restore the regular funding now that the crisis is evolving into a more regular situation. So thank you for that question, Kathy, and it's good to see you here.
Yeah, and congratulations, because it isn't easy to get that funding. You have to do a lot of paperwork, a lot of showing that you have your stuff together, like you said. And so well done. Well
Thank
done.
you. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy is a former commissioner, so we appreciate your support and love having you in our corner. Thank you. Any other questions? I mean, it doesn't have to be about anything serious. You can ask us like lighthearted, silly questions or
I want to know about Irene's dog. What kind of dog you got there?
Irene and Naomi's dog.
Naomi. Sasha, tell us about Sasha, Naomi.
She's a little rescue from Tijuana and she's adorable.
And she's like your son.
My suggestion is this: just as the city of San Diego is sort of democratic after many, many years of not being democratic, the county is also, the supervisors are primarily democratic. And I would really recommend maybe approaching them as you are with Jonathan Glass, because they are, I think, really invested in the arts. They haven't put it all together yet. And it might be a really interesting and perfect time to approach them with a collaboration. They may have an existing building or grounds that they could donate or partner with. So I really encourage you to do that too.
Thank you. Will do.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we feel very encouraged by the political climate in San Diego, perhaps for the first time in my very long tenure living in San Diego. As Naomi very astutely pointed out, we have for the first time ever, a majority Democrat Board of Supervisors and City Council. In fact, I think on the City Council, we have a super majority. So this is a very favorable situation. As you all know, San Diego tends to move slowly towards change. And so even having all the pieces in place, we still expect it to be a bit of a slog, but we really appreciate the improvement in the climate, in the political climate, that where really all the people who are making the decisions understand the value of arts and culture, not only on that level that we all vibe with, which is that arts and culture are just essential to our souls, but they also understand that arts and culture are essential to the creative economy and to the future of this city as a nexus of vitality and economic development. So thank you, Naomi, and especially for your support over the years, and for all your good advice, which we try to take as much as we can and incorporate into our practices. So thank you.
I think that we should suggest to the city that they give us the asbestos-filled building that Kevin Falconer's Republicans bought, without knowing it was asbestos-filled. So they've got like a $78 million building they can't do anything with. So maybe we can talk about asbestos and the arts.
I also have thought about Ash Street as a talking point, let us say, with the city.
Jennifer.
Yeah, I think we have time for one more question or comment. So I'm going to make you our last one, and then we'll move on. Go for it.
Oh, pressure's on. Okay, I'm an outsider. I'm not an artist. I joined the board as treasurer. I didn't know what to expect. And what I'm learning is, number one, leadership is high quality, staff, high quality. The artists are awesome, very high quality, world class. And the arts are good. The arts nurture the creative class. The creative class nurtures innovation. Innovation nurtures society, both economically, educationally, culturally, holistically. So as an outsider, I'm like, is there a return on investment? Such a boring question. And categorically, on a tangible and intangible basis, there's a tremendous return on investment that the arts provide the municipality. So so in other words, the larger the presence, the larger the footprint that Space for Art can have, the greater the contribution, the greater the good it can make to the area, to the city. So so thank you, Space for Art, for what you all do.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you for joining our board and for providing that perspective, that sort of outsider perspective. Pat comes to us from the financial services world, and he really has embraced our mission, and we really appreciate all your contributions, Pat, to our work. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. I think that's a great note to end on. So I am going to share with you some ways that you can stay connected with us. And so if you have any more questions or comments, please feel free to send them to us. Hi, Jonathan. We're glad to have you with us. So our big reveal of the evening is that our next open studio, so our next chance to see you in person, will be March 18th, and will be open to the public from 7 to 9:30 p.m. We really hope that you can join us. Just in the last couple of days, we solidified some performances for that night. So I do want to let you know that Anya Sundstrom and her trio Figmentum will be performing, as well as Nick Leslie with his band Necking, and Jonathan Piper will be performing as well. So it'll be a great night, and then the artist studios will be open, everyone who's participating. And then we will also, this is the graphic on the screen, be celebrating Holi. And that's the Indian festival that marks the arrival of spring. Our open studios just happens to fall on that night. So we figured, what a great opportunity. People generally celebrate it as a day of spreading happiness and love, and they color each other with different colored powders. So we will have the opportunity for you to lightly be colored as you come in the gate if you choose. And we're really excited about that and grateful to Suchita for kind of sharing that idea and that cultural event with us. So with that, I just want to share one more slide so you know how to stay connected with us until we hopefully see you in person in March. You can visit our website and sign up for our e-newsletter. We are trying to send out newsletters more regularly, so please do that. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We're very active on social media right now, with a big thank you to one of our board members, Lindsay, who's helping us with that. So our handle is at SD Space for Art. And if you participate in another arts organization or you're an artist yourself, we're always happy to cross promote. So feel free to send us anything that you would like us to promote on our feed. And then, of course, we love to hear from you. So please feel free to reach out to the administrative team anytime. And our email is sdspaceforart@gmail.com. And I am going to turn it back over to our executive director, Jennifer, for one more final farewell.
.org.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thank you, Sarah, for emceeing for us tonight and for navigating all the technical stuff that I honestly couldn't manage myself. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you to everyone for being here tonight to celebrate all who work together to make space for art. We see you, we appreciate you, and we couldn't do it without you. So this concludes the formal part of our event. And we will be here for a bit to answer any other questions you might have, or to field any ideas, or, we're always open to taking advice, feedback, criticism, kudos, whatever you want to supply. So please feel free to stick around. If you're ready to move out of the virtual space, and goodness knows most of us are, we thank you for being here. We'll let you reluctantly leave, and we hope to see you all in person, at least those who are here with us in San Diego, at our March 18th event.